Welcome back to my next video. So today we're talking fridges. As you know, if you haven't seen a video, I put out a video in the last month or two, and that video was, and I'll put a link to it right up here, one way or the other, up there. And I talked about how I had always bought quality fridges, and as to the best of my ability, reasonable good quality, thinking they would last a long time and I would save money in the long run. Well, it never worked. They kept breaking on me. So I would spend $500, $600 on a fridge and it would still break on me after 2 or 3 years. So I said in that video that I'm going to give up and start buying cheap fridges because I think they'll last me just as long and I will not have spent all that money on an expensive fridge. And so when it does break and I throw it away, I'll spend less. I'll cry less that way. So that was my goal. Well, so I put out that video and I'm still very happy with that fridge. It's only been a month or two, so it's not time to tell you yet if it's a quality fridge will really last. But when I put that fridge out, companies came out of the woodworks and wanted to send me fridges to test. Well, I don't need more fridges. I live in a van. I have a fridge, that's all I have room for. But I do like to get the fridges and give them to friends. So the three companies contacted me. I told them my conditions. I would give it to a friend and I would do a long-term review. They would own it and they'd get a lot of videos out of it and a lot of attention, but I wouldn't own it, they would. Okay, now we're gonna unbox the F40C4 TMP. And you guys, there'll be a test. There'll be a quiz after this video to see if you've memorized the name. And of course, there's a box inside a box. This one was packaged in such a way it was shipped sideways the entire trip. And so I really would not start this without 24 hours. And I don't feel so bad about turning it upside down. Now, this is the exact fridge that my friend has. And you notice this weird hump here. Well, if you watched my video where I bought my new fridge, I complained because my friend gave me her old one, which is this fridge, which she loved, but she wanted a bigger one. And so she bought the new one, and it had this high, weird top. I have a friend with the F40C4 TMP. That's this one. And she really loves it. It's quiet, it's reliable, it's quiet. She really likes it. And so that was why she got me started on the whole idea of just buying a cheap, small Chinese fridge. But if you remember, if you go back and watch my video, with hers, it's too narrow. You can't put tall things, like tall bottles, like a 2-liter bottle can't go in here. Anything even close to the height of a 2-liter bottle can't fit in here. And so what they did was they just put a new top on it and it gained all the extra space and now you can put tall things in it. And so that's why it's got this weird hump. It's cool. This is a very good fridge. I did have her F40C4 TMP for a while mine broke, and then while I was waiting for my Joy Tutus, which is another stupid name to come in, I used hers, her old one, and then that has gone over to someone else. Now, if another friend has got that one, she had bought this one, exact one we got here, with the tall top, 26 quart. 20 quart was just not big enough. The 26 quart of mine is actually working really well for me. I think it's going to be big enough. It's tight. The problem is, when you know you're going to be out for a while, you stop at Walmart, you stop wherever you go. She goes to farmers markets. You load up on perishables, especially if you buy a lot of fruits and vegetables. They're so bulky. And you get really tight that first few days. Then when you start to use it, it stops being an issue. One of the keys is, if you're going to use one of the small ones, is take everything out of its original packaging. So even pickles, you know, I like pickles. I usually keep a jar of pickles in there. I'm going to have to start taking it out and putting it in a Ziploc, I think, because you can't, it just is so bulky in a little fridge. So before you think about buying one of these, think about where you're going to put it and be able to open the lid. You know, this is obviously much bigger, but it's the lid that's really crucial. Watch this. When I open the lid on this one, it's barely any taller than this without the lid open. And so you can find a spot this high somewhere, probably, and then just leave this under and not have to move it. Well, they also sent me the bag to go with it, and I've already shot the video on this, and so I'm going to add the bag in now. So this is the bag they make for it, and I'm very impressed with the bag. It is thickly insulated. It's well made. I like it a lot, but it's very, very overpriced. This thing is $70, and I doubt if I would be willing to pay $70. You can often buy them as a combination, and it's well worth it then. They're so cheap. But I don't think I would buy this for $70. Let's see now. Yeah, that's pretty nice, actually. Nice fold over. And it is well insulated. It's thick. And there's cutouts for the venting here and back as well. And you would put, I would just put all the cables. This came with a 110 and a 12 volt, and I just keep the other one in here so you never lost it. So folks, now we are going to do a kind of a long-term review of this F40 fridge. This isn't the one that I unboxed that I'm giving to someone else. This is another friend who has owned this for quite a while. And so when the company F40, let me read you the crazy name, F40 C4 TMP, it just slips off your tongue so easily. When they contacted me and offered to give me one, I was delighted because I know this is a good, reliable fridge. And it just happens to be on right now. It's in my friend's rig. And I'm going to get really close to it. Well, I'm within a foot and a half now, so I'm going to stop talking, which is really hard for me to do, as you know, and you can actually hear the fridge. I'll get closer to it so I know you're hearing it. That's the vent. The compressor is right behind there and blowing out. The fan is blowing out hot air, and so you're hearing the fan. And so my friend will just describe how she's been doing with the fridge. So, my friend, my anonymous friend,
okay.
And how long have you had this fridge?
So I have had this fridge for 6 months, and it has worked flawlessly for 6 months. So it has this high top. So this is 20 quarts, and then it gives you an additional 4 within the lid portion. So when you open it, you have this amount of space that is here in the lid. And that amount of space is fantastic for me because you can see I have juices and various things, and then on top of that, like if this was just a 20 quart fridge, I would hardly have any room at all for the food. So my food usually goes on top of my bottles of juice and things like that. And then they have this little handy dandy thing, which I just put some nuts and bolts in.
So you, all in all, after 6 months, which is still a good fair use, you would highly recommend it. You would say buy this fridge.
Well, here's the thing: if you're gonna get the 24 quart, if they still have this,
they do.
Okay, here's the thing about it. You have to realize they made it well. So this is very thick all around this portion of the fridge that you're trying to use. So you have to tuck your food in inside of these edges. So and also inside of the back edge. So you can't just like throw your food in there and close it. You throw your food in there and then you try to close it, and then you tuck your food in, maybe 5 or 6 times before you can close it. But to me, it's worth the extra, kind of work, because what they did was they allowed you 24 quarts instead of in length. They gave it to you in height. So that really works well for me because, as you can see, it fits perfectly between my clothes and, this edge. This is only 3 feet back here. So I needed a very short fridge in length, but tall, and trying to get the most room that I could for the space that I had.
Now it's pulling 55 watts, which is about 55 divided by 48 is 4 amps. It's pulling about 4.5 amps. Okay, so we're continuing our review of the...
It's F40 C4 TMP.
Okay, that's the fridge.
That is the fridge.
It just slips off your tongue.
It does.
Okay, well, we're doing a review, and you have had it not for very long, week or two?
About a week.
About a
Yeah.
week. So, but we just talked to another owner who's had one for many months, so we've gotten a pretty good understanding of it so far. So, in your week of using it, how has it gone?
It's does a great job of keeping things cool. Yeah, I have missed being able to store salads. So now I can have more than just one salad purchased from the store at a time.
And you have it set up in kind of an unusual way. You just have it sitting there on your microwave.
I do.
Because you're in the middle of building.
I am. So this is a very temporary setup. I put the microwave there because I couldn't put the microwave on top of the fridge because the fridge opens from the top. So it had to be the other way around. And I bungee corded in when I travel, and it has traveled very well. I've probably traveled over a couple 100 miles now with it.
And so when you do your final build, you'll just build in a space for it.
Right, and it actually, I plan to have it right behind the front seat there.
So that raises a number of questions. You have a very large array of solar.
I have 400 watts, correct.
And so is this stressed your system at all?
And no, I've noticed a couple of percentage points lower overnight state of charge, but not much at all.
Not enough to give a thought.
No, not at all.
And how about noise? Has the noise been an issue?
Well, I'm kind of sensitive to noise, and so when I first heard it run, I thought it was especially noisy, but then I've gone and checked other people's compressor fridges, and it's comparable. A friend has a Winter, and the noise is about the same.
Why don't you go ahead and open it up for us? We'll get an idea of what you're keeping in there.
Sure. So just so that everybody knows, this black cover is actually an insulated cover that's made for the fridge and fits it perfectly. And so it's black on the outside and then the silver reflective material on the inside. And then open it up. And so that's what I have in there now. Really, the only thing, of everything that's in there, the only thing that really needs to be in there is the salads. But I keep the other things in there because I know it makes the refrigerator more efficient the fuller it is. Mm-hmm. The other thing that folks might want to know is that it does come with a 110 volt brick and plug. So right now it's hooked with a cigarette plug to my 12 volt system. But if I wanted to hook it up to a 110 volt system, just a regular, household plug, I certainly could do that.
Right.
If just like I like no noise, I like no light, and the light that comes off the display here is quite bright, so I do cover that at night, just so that people know.
Yeah, I do exactly the same thing.
Yeah,
I just throw
a blanket over it.
Anything, any
right.
cloth that'll just lay over it.
Right.
Okay, well, thank you. Appreciate it. So that concludes our initial video on the F40 12 volt compressor fridge. I have a friend who has had it for 6 months, had great luck with it, and the price is right. The 26 quart is $242. The little bag, the insulating bag that goes over it, looks really good quality. So far, I'm giving it a 100% thumbs up recommendation. We will continue to do a long-term review. We've had 6 months already. We know it lasts that long, and I'll let you know in the future. So I think the F40 is a good fridge. The little bubble top is kind of a problem. They do have a 30 quart, which is a more normal flat top, and that's probably what I would recommend that you buy instead of this 26, is to get the 30 quart, and I believe it's $269. It will give you a little more room and a little more less awkwardness of the bubble top. But so that's probably what I would recommend. But as a product, it seems very good, and it is recommended if you are looking for a freezer, a fridge freezer, 12 volt compressor. I think it's a good one. I am an affiliate with Amazon, and so below there will be links to that fridge. I'm an affiliate. I'll make a few pennies on it, and it won't cost you a thing, and I would greatly appreciate it if you use those. So if you got anything out of this video, like us on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, hit that thumbs up button, and we'll talk to you later.